This ain't no acrobatics. You either follow or you lead. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'll keep on blaming the machine. Yeah, I'm talking about it. Talking about it. I can't complain about it. I gotta keep my balance and just keep dancing on it. We getting funky on the scene, and you know about it. Like a star on the screen. Watch me tip on it.
Hey, Chicago! Hey, can we hear it one more time for the Tommy's Reunion Gospel Choir? All right. A campaign is only as strong as its organizing. That's why Bernie will not only just be the next president of the United States, but he'll be our country's organizer-in-chief. Chicago, please put your hands together for Bernie 2020 Illinois Constituency Field Director, Margot.
Chicago! You look mighty pretty today. This is awesome. How are we feeling today? Like the voice of God said, my name is Margot. I'm the Constituency Field Director here at Bernie 2020 in Illinois. I am here today to talk to you about what it's going to take to win. It's going to take an unprecedented grassroots movement of all of you. Are you guys ready? Good, because I know that we can win Illinois. That was weak. Give me more. I know that we can win Illinois. And when we win Illinois, we are going to win the nomination. We are going to defeat Donald Trump in November and transform this country. It's not just enough to want change, though. We have to make it happen. Here's how we do that. Are you ready? First, every single one of you needs to get out and vote for Senator Bernie Sanders. Early voting is already happening in every county in Illinois and every ward in Chicago. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a plan. You can go to b2020.me/Illinois early vote. One more time, b2020.me/Illinois early vote. And you can make a plan to vote there. But that's not enough. You're also going to have to make a plan to bring, I don't know, at least 200 people with you. Can you guys do that? Election Day is March 17th. That is 10 days away. If you want to vote on Election Day, do so, but you got to make a plan to do that there. Think about when you're going to vote, how you're going to get there. You're going to Uber, you're going to walk, you're going to Lyft. Figure it out. Is everybody ready to vote in this election? But we can't stop there. It's not just enough to vote, right? We need to bring millions of people into this movement with us. Millions. People we don't already know. You need to fight for those people as hard as you're willing to fight for yourself. And get out the vote. So what I'm here to do today is to get each and every one of you to knock some doors. Can you guys do that for me? I want you to take out your phones. I want you to raise them in the air really quick. I want to see a ton of phones, right? That's good. That's a good start. I need you to text the word organize to 67760. Text the word organize to 67760. What that's going to do, it's going to send you a link to sign up to knock some doors. We also have volunteers throughout this entire park with clipboards. I want them to raise them. Yeah, there's one right there. There's one right there. And I need you to talk to those people and get signed up to volunteer today. Is every person here going to volunteer at least once? I'm going to be real with you, though. Once isn't enough. I am asking you today to sign up for at least 5 canvassing shifts between now and Election Day. That's one every other day. Can we do that? If everyone here gets out to vote for Bernie, you get your friends to vote for Bernie, and you sign up for those canvasses, I know that we will win. So together, let's build a movement strong enough to transform the country. Thank you so much, Chicago.
We all know that healthcare needs nurses. We all know that nurses need unions. And we all know that unions need Bernie. Chicago, put your hands together for registered nurse and NNU member MARTESE CHISM.
Hello, Chicago! My name is MARTESE CHISM, and I have been a registered nurse for 28 years. I am also the great-granddaughter of a civil rights activist who was part of the revolution in Mississippi. In 1965, she marched across the Pettis Bridge with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 10 months later, she went to Jackson, Mississippi to fight for voting rights with 5 black civil rights activists and 1 white Jewish college student. On their way back home from the hearing, the Klans forced her car off the road. 2 other activists went down fighting for the revolution, and she was one of them. We didn't give up when my great-grandmother died. June 1966, the revolution showed up at the ballot box in Mississippi and showed up and showed out. That is how we're going to win the election in Illinois. We got to show up at the ballot box. We got to show up at the ballot box. I am a proud board member of National Nurses Organizing Committee and an affiliate of the National Nurses United. We are the largest nurses union in the United States. National Nurses United has a slogan, "Vote Nurses' Values." And there is no candidate who better embodies nurses' value than Senator Bernie Sanders. As nurses, we make an oath to protect our patients, but the reality is my colleague and I have to protect our patients from the healthcare system. How many of you know someone who has suffered because they can't afford health care? Look at all those hands. People in Illinois and across this country are suffering because they are priced out of care and because they are denied insurance. That's why, for decades, nurses have been on the battlefield leading the grassroots movement to win guaranteed health care for all, because health care is a human right. And one candidate who has been on the battlefield with nurses is Senator Bernie Sanders. We are so proud that due to hard work of nurses and Bernie Sanders and thousands of grassroots activists, Medicare for all is now a major issue of the 2020 presidential race. And we should be talking about Medicare for all, because our profit-driven healthcare system is not just broken, it's unfixable. Union nurses know what it's like to stand up together and take on billionaire healthcare industry and win. We are going to stand together with Bernie Sanders, who is building a movement, a political revolution. And we are going to win Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders is fighting structural racism that is literally killing our patients. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women. More of our black babies died too compared to white babies. We need a freedom fighter in the White House who will fight for economic justice, healthcare justice, climate justice. That candidate is Bernie Sanders. When Bernie is the president, nurses and all working people will have a powerful ally in the White House. We can build a healthier world, but only if we stand together and fight together. Are you ready to fight for someone you don't know? Are you ready for a President Bernie Sanders? Are you ready to join the political revolution with the nurses? Let's win Illinois. Thank you.
Put your hands together for President of the United Electrical Workers, Carl Rosen.
Good afternoon. My name is Carl Rosen, and I'm the National President of UE, the United Electrical Radio and Machine Workers of America, which proudly was the first national union to endorse Bernie Sanders' campaign for president last year. UE is an independent union that, just like Bernie, has fought for decades against the corporate forces that are trying to dominate U.S. politics, no matter which party they're in. I am so happy to be right here standing up for Bernie because I am also a native Chicago, and it is so great to see such a vast and broad group of people out here in Grant Park for Bernie. So you're all here for Bernie. Let me tell you why I'm here for Bernie. I'm here for Bernie because he has always, and I mean always, been there for working people, including members of my union, asking how he can use his power as an elected official to help workers get a measure of justice in the workplace. I'm here for Bernie because the members of my union know how consistent Bernie has been. He has stood by them through thick and thin since he was first elected mayor of Burlington, Vermont, almost 40 years ago. Just 2 years into his first mayoral term, we found him standing on a picket line for locked out workers all the way on the other side of Vermont in another city where there were UE members who were fighting, and what they were fighting for was health care because their boss was trying to shift the costs onto their back. I'm here for Bernie because he kept working all through that decade of the 80s, supporting contract fights and organizing drives. And so UE members were thrilled to be with him in 1990 when he ran for and got elected as an independent for Congress in Vermont. They helped fuel his people-driven campaign, which was based on worker needs over corporate greed. I'm here because then as congressperson, he convened meetings of rank and file union members in Vermont to talk about the challenges facing working people and how they could be overcome through organizing. He helped create a pro-union climate in Vermont that directly resulted in many organizing victories for my union and others. I'm here for Bernie because as it became clear in the 1990s that the labor laws in America were completely broken, he sat down with us, asked what the problems were and what the fixes were, and then he drafted the Workplace Democracy Act, the first serious attempt at labor law reform in decades, and one he continues to promote and strengthen. And I'm here for Bernie because as senator, he's continued to have the backs of working people. Just last year, he provided critical public support to UE members at a giant locomotive plant in Erie, Pennsylvania. They were on strike in the dead of winter to stop a company from imposing a two-tier pay system that would have driven down living standards in that city for the next generation. Bernie shed crucial national light on the fight, and the workers won. I'm here for Bernie because his presidential campaign has forced all the other candidates to address worker issues. He has dramatically shifted the debate across this country, whether it is on health care, on minimum wage, on workers' rights, on racial justice, on immigration, on corporate taxes, on corporate greed, on unfair taxes, or a host of other issues. I'm here for Bernie because he has been such a strong and steadfast proponent of Medicare for all, recognizing that health care is a right, that we need to get health care off the bargaining table where it prevents workers from making any real wage gains, that we need to stop workers from being shackled to their jobs through fear of losing their health care, and that we need to end profiteering off the sick and the dying. I'm here for Bernie because for working people to get improvements in this country, they need to support candidates based on their track records, not based on their promises or party labels. I'm here for Bernie because he understands that we can't make the changes we need to make, the changes he intends to make as president, without a broad movement that stays alive and fighting after Election Day. I'm here for Bernie because as part of building that movement, he is the only presidential candidate ever to put his campaign structure at the service of workers in struggle, using his email list to turn out his supporters to union picket lines and worker rallies. I'm here for Bernie because he understands that just like a union, the more a movement can unite people across race, across gender, across age, across nationality, across religion, across language, and across all the ways that corporate America tries to divide us, the more that movement can accomplish. I'm here for Bernie because I truly does believe that it's not him, it's us. In short, I'm here for Bernie because Bernie's here for us. Thank you.
Bernie 2020 is proud to introduce our next speaker to the stage. Hailing from the south side of Chicago, please put your hands together for Vice President of the Chicago Teachers Union, Stacey Davis Gates.
What's up, Chicago? What's up, Chicago? Not me. Not me. Not me. Chicago, make some noise. My name is Stacy, and I'm a public school teacher. I am a mother of 3 public school students. I am a member of the mighty Chicago Teachers Union. And I am proudly a resident on the island of misfit black girls. And I'm even prouder here to support Senator Bernie Sanders' historic run for the White House. But I'm troubled by a narrative of moderation that keeps bubbling up. A narrative of moderation that tells us to wait for Medicare for all. A narrative of moderation that tells us that it's okay to have children in cages at the border. A narrative of moderation that says that the mass shootings of black boys on the south side and the west side of Chicago is okay. A narrative of moderation that continues to imprison too many of our people for unfair drug laws. But I'm here today because Bernie is going to give us a little hope. This movement, not this run for president, but this movement says that we deserve investment. Not this run for presidency, but this movement says that we deserve justice and equity. So our work is to change the narrative of moderation. Our work is to go to the ballot box, to knock on a door, to make a phone call, and to tell people that if Dr. King believed in moderation, I wouldn't be standing on this stage right now. I need you to make another phone call and tell them that if Rosa believed in moderation, she would have stood up instead of sitting down. See, moderation is a dream killer. It will have you believing that we can pay for wars and a bloated military budget, but we cannot fully fund public schools. This narrative of moderation will tell you that black women cannot get up on this stage and tell you to dream for more, because my grandmothers left the South dreaming for equity, dreaming for justice, and they got me. Moderation is inhumane. But the hope of this campaign, the hope of our movement is that together, not singularly, but together, that we get to fight for and we get to win a healthcare system that doesn't turn you away because you can't pay for it. That together, we get to fight for a country that provides a free education from preschool all the way through college for all of us. Don't complicate this, y'all. Don't make it too intellectual. And don't quarantine yourselves. This movement is about all of us here. This movement is about making America a place for everyone who needs health care, who needs education, who needs a safety net. And Bernie Sanders, as president of these United States of America, will bring it home for us. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. Stand up, Chicago.
Next to the stage, he represents the very district that we are standing in. He is an organizer, an activist, and a young leader. Please welcome Senator Robert Peters.
Good afternoon, Chicago. I'm State Senator Robert Peters, and welcome to the 13th District. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am and why we need a president, Bernie Sanders. I was born deaf in 1985 to a biological mother addicted to drugs and alcohol in the middle of Ronald Reagan's racist war on drugs. I was forced into adoption, adopted by a civil rights lawyer for a father and a social worker for a mother. I struggled as a kid. I wasn't fully able to hear until I was 6 and fully able to speak until I was 12. My parents were often told that they should have never adopted me, My adopted mother struggled. She was addicted to alcohol, suffered from mental health trauma. I often found safety in my school, at my park, and with my neighbors. When I left college, it was in the midst of the Great Recession. I couldn't find a job. I often blamed myself. In fact, for most of my life, I was told I was a failure. But my dad had always told me that people were going to be tough on me and I just gotta try. He never framed it as success or failure, but simply to try. I remember when he passed away in 2011, I was 26 and I was just fired from my job. He said, "Robert, I was tough on you because I love you. And I just want you to follow your dreams." I remember getting depressed. I remember contemplating my own life. I remember in 2012 working an unstable sales job and watching as thousands of us young people were promised a bright future, now stuck with thousands of dollars of student debt. I remember in 2013 when our local sandwich shop at the forefront of the Fight for 15 movement fired their employees a few days before Christmas. I remember that same year I watched my mother drink herself to death and die with $300,000 of housing debt. I remember when George Zimmerman got off for the murder of Trayvon Martin. It was at this time I became an organizer with the People's Lobby. I helped win a minimum wage increase. I helped start the End Money Bond Coalition and helped win bail reforms. We worked to elect new folks, especially a new prosecutor, Kim Foxx, and kicked out Anita Alvarez. During the 35 years I've been on this planet, there has only been one candidate running for president who's had my back. He's been fighting for someone he never even knew. That candidate is Bernie Sanders. So here we are. In the last 30 to 40 years, we have seen disinvestment in our communities. In the last 30 to 40 years, we have seen more and more loneliness. In the last 30 to 40 years, we have seen more and more folks feel unsafe. In the last 30 to 40 years, we've been told to pick ourselves up by bootstraps that don't even exist. In the last 30 to 40 years, Bernie Sanders took lonely votes, made long speeches, and has fought for all of us. My predecessor once said, "Yes, we can." And while I believe we are the extension of that hope, I believe that if we struggle and fight, then yes, we can win Medicare for all. Yes, we can win college for all and cancel student debt. Yes, we can end endless wars. Yes, we can win a homes guarantee. Yes, we can end cash bond. Yes, we can. This is not a time for us to think small. This is a time when we must think big, because when we think small, Donald Trump wins. This is a moment where we must be tough and follow our dreams. This is a moment where we can't go back in the fight against fascism. This is our moment. This is our chance to elect someone like Bernie Sanders, who looks at our crisis and says, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and the only thing to do is fight like hell. Are we going to fight like hell? Are we going to fight like hell? There's those who tell us that what we want is impossible. How dare you tell a black person in America what is and isn't possible? We survived a slave ship. We survived the slashes of a whip. We survived Jim Crow and Ronald Reagan. We survived the foreclosure crisis. We are surviving the reappearance of white nationalism. How dare you tell any of us what is and isn't possible? How dare you tell a Jewish person what is and isn't possible? Folks who survived anti-Semitic attacks, folks who survived anti-Semitic Russian pogroms, folks who survived the Holocaust, how dare you tell Jewish folks what is and isn't possible? So the powerful can kill 1, 2, or 100 roses, but they'll never stop the arrival of spring. And our fight is in the search of spring. On March 17th, We're a million roses, and we're going to win Illinois for Bernie Sanders.
We got 1,000 points in light for the homeless man. We got a kinder, gentler machine gun hand. We got department stores and toilet paper. Got styrofoam boxes for the ozone man. Let's give a big Chicago welcome for our next speaker. You know him, we love him, Congressman for Illinois' 4th District, Chewy Garcia!
All right. Is Chicago in the house? ¿Está todo Chicago presente? ¿Se puede o no se puede? ¿Se puede o no se puede? ¿Lo vamos a hacer? ¿Lo vamos a hacer en grande? ¡Qué bueno! All right, that's bilingual Chicago for you. Yeah! It's black and red and yellow and brown and beautiful. Yeah, beautiful white, beautiful Asian, beautiful LGBTQ. All of our people are beautiful. Thank you for the reaffirmation of the love. I am deeply honored to be facing each and every one of you, knowing that you have my back and the back of my wife and the back of my children and everyone in my family, whether they're here or the other side of the border. Because it's all of our Americas, and we cherish the America that we live in and that we strive to improve for everyone. Brothers, sisters, all of you, as we assemble here, let us remember the spirit and the memory, the injustice, and why we strive to make our world better, the native inhabitants of the indigenous place called Chicago. Let us also honor the city's first non-native settler, a man who came from Haiti. We know it as Haiti, both African and Caribbean and immigrant. John Baptiste Dusabo is also Chicago. We know our history. As we congregate here in our front yard in Grant Park, let us celebrate the progressive, empowering, and inclusive movement that a man named Harold Washington brought together in 1983. The city's first black mayor, and as importantly, first progressive mayor that brought us together just like this. And created our nation's first sanctuary city. We love Chicago. And it is in that spirit of grassroots organizing, of community rootedness, of women leadership, of a labor tradition that you just heard extolled and being renewed in the 21st century, joining together with our sisters and brothers in the LGBTQ community, across faith communities, and especially embracing our Muslim sisters and brothers in America. Multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-generational leadership is what our movements are all about. And as we gather today, let us not forget that this man that we want to propel to the White House, because we trust him, because he does the right thing, because he's truth, he speaks truth, and he wants action on truth, has helped us transform our city on our way forward. Bernie Sanders came to Chicago. He endorsed a kid that grew up on Chicago's Southwest Side for mayor, and we reorganized our coalition in Chicago. And it's borne fruit. We did get rid of the 1% mayor, right? And we continue in the process of renewing our city council and our state legislature with the next generation of leaders. And a quick snapshot of what it will look like, look behind me. This is what new leadership comes from. And the new leadership that has been elected to city council, to state legislature, is also multiracial progressive. It is black, and it is brown, and it is white, and it is gay, and it is straight, and it'll continue to grow. And Bernie had lots to do with it. Okay, so I say to you, if you see progress in action, come to Chicago. But if you truly want to see the corrupting influence of money ended across our country, if you want to bring an end to corporate greed and to make the rich pay a fair share of resources for all the people, and if you're ready to strike forward with Bernie Sanders to take on the challenge of climate change head on, then we need to elect him. And Bernie also understands that we need to replace a broken and cruel immigration system that puts children in cages. We cannot tolerate the mass kidnapping that has already occurred at the border at the hands of Donald Trump. We can do better. And Bernie Sanders, as he's been an ally of workers forever, understands that what we need to do in the face of climate change, because it affects each and every one of us in generations to come, is to replace it with a green infrastructure investment that will help save our planet. And it will also put Americans, millions of Americans, to work in sustainable jobs that don't hurt Mother Earth. So, in Chicago, Illinois, we recognize that the 116th Congress that you helped create, where good people took over the majority of the Congress, then you understand that while we passed almost 450 bills out of the House of Representatives, including landmark legislation to raise the minimum wage, to protect women, for immigration reform, for moving in the right direction as it relates to the climate challenge, then you understand that we need a Bernie Sanders in the House, in the White House. Yeah, it's our house, all right. It's a house that we're going to own, by the way. So, yes. Yeah, you'll get a pass, don't worry. if Bernie has anything to do with it. So, I ask you, sisters and brothers in Chicago, the vessel of our movement for progress, for unity, and joining the civilized people of all the world who understand the anxiety and the challenges before us, I ask you to join me in welcoming to Chicago a transformational leader that America needs, the next president of the United States, Bernie Sanders.
Power to the people. 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 Power to the people now. Say we want a revolution. We better get on right away. We're looking on the beat and on the street. Saying power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Whoa! There are a lot of people here today. Thank you, Chicago. You know, I can't even see the end of the crowd. You're so far back. Let me thank all those who have been up here speaking. Let me thank Dr. Stephen Thrasher. Let me thank Alderwoman Sue Sadowski Garza, Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor. Let me thank the Tommy's Reunion Band. Let me thank Martese CHISM. Let me thank Carl Rosen, President of the United Electrical Workers. Let me thank STACY Davis Gates, Vice President of the Chicago Teachers Union. Senator Robert Peters of the Illinois State Senate. And my old friend, Congressman Chuy Garcia. So brothers and sisters, we are here today for some important business. Today, we make it clear that together we are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. And today we make it clear that the only way we beat Trump is with a campaign of energy, excitement, and grassroots activism. That is our campaign. All over this country, there are people now knocking on doors, making phone calls, working the grassroots. And if we're going to beat Trump, we need the largest voter turnout in the history of America, and that turnout looks like Grant Park today. Now, we're going to beat Trump. We are going to beat Trump because the American people do not want a pathological liar in the White House. They do not want somebody who is running a corrupt administration. They do not want somebody who has apparently never read the Constitution of the United States. They do not want somebody who is moving this country into an autocracy. And in November, Trump is going to learn that we are a democracy because we're going to throw him out of office. Now, this campaign for the Democratic nomination, as you all know, began with 18 candidates. We're down to 2. And let me tell you,
that the good news is that of all 18 candidates, we all understand that at the end of the day, we are going to get behind the winner, because together we know that our differences are far, far less than our differences with this dangerous president. So I say to the American people, Democrats, independents, a number of Republicans, let us stand together for dignity and decency in the White House. Let us beat Trump. But I think now that the election, the primary nomination process is coming down to two people, it is important for the American people, the people of Illinois, to understand the differences between us in terms of our record, in terms of our vision for the future. Joe Biden and I are friends. I have known him for many years, but we have different records. We have a different vision. The American people will hear about it. When George W. Bush and Dick Cheney told us we had to invade Iraq, which was the worst foreign policy blunder in the modern history of this country, destabilized the region, cost us thousands of young, brave men and women from our own country, cost trillions of dollars. One of us voted for that war. That was Joe Biden. One of us led the opposition to that war. That was Bernie Sanders. 12 years ago, when the crooks on Wall Street nearly destroyed our economy, they came to Wall Street and said, "Oh, please, bail us out." One of us voted for that outrageous bailout. That was Joe Biden. One of us led the opposition to that bailout. That was Bernie Sanders. Back in the 1990s, when you had corporate America coming before Congress and they're saying, we need trade agreements, we need a NAFTA, we need a permanent normal trade relations with China. One of us, Joe Biden, voted for those agreements, which cost us almost 5 million decent paying jobs. One of us worked with the unions in this country and understood that it was unfair to ask American workers to compete against people in China, in Vietnam, in Mexico, or the low-wage countries who are earning starvation wages. As a result of those trade agreements, we lost almost 5 million good-paying jobs. We engaged in a race to the bottom where wages actually went down. There are manufacturing workers today in America making $9, $10, $11 an hour. Those trade agreements were a disaster. Joe was wrong. I was right. Number of years ago, there was a big discussion in the Senate, in the House, about Social Security. Joe Biden was on the floor of the Senate talking about the need to cut Social Security and Medicare and veterans programs in order to balance the budget. My view was and is that when you got millions of seniors trying to get by on $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a year Social Security, and I don't know how anybody survives on that kind of income. You don't cut Social Security, you expand Social Security. Joe Biden in the past has voted for what is called the Hyde Amendment and that said that women could not use Medicaid dollars in order to protect their reproductive rights and get an abortion. I am proud to tell you that I have 100% pro-choice voting record throughout my entire life. I believe then and I believe now that it is women who have a right to control their own bodies, not the government. And let me be very clear in telling you, I will never nominate anybody to the Supreme Court or the federal court who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. Trump and his friends want to cut funding for Planned Parenthood. We're going to expand funding for Planned Parenthood. And you can tell a lot about our different campaigns about how we raise the funds we need. Joe Biden has received funding from at least 60 billionaires. Joe Biden has a super PAC, and there's another super PAC out there running millions and millions of dollars in negative ads against us all over this country. So let me be very clear. I don't have a super PAC. We don't want a super PAC. We don't need a super PAC. I don't go to billionaires' homes for campaign contributions. We're going to win this election because we have received more campaign contributions from more Americans than any campaign in the history of this country. And those contributions average $18.50 apiece. As the son of an American working class family, I am proud to tell you, this campaign is for the working class of this country. It is standing with the working class of this country. And it is funded by the working class of this country. And this is a working class in America, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American. This is a working class sick and tired of seeing wage stagnation and almost all new wealth and income going to the top 1%. This is a working class in America which demands an economy and a government that work for all of us, not just the 1%. We are tired of tax breaks for billionaires when 500,000 people in America are homeless. We are tired of half of the American people living paycheck to paycheck when 3 people on the top own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. We're going to win this election because we have the agenda that speaks to the needs of a long neglected working class. People in America should not work for starvation wages. We're going to raise that minimum wage $15 an hour. Women should not make 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. Equal pay for equal work. And when millions of workers want to join unions, want to get decent wages and decent benefits through a union, we are going to make it easier for workers to join unions, not harder. We're going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, including making sure that every American has clean water coming out of their tap. And when we do that, we can create millions of good-paying union jobs. Unlike the current president, we have the radical idea that maybe we should have the best educated population in the world. We believe in universal, high-quality, affordable child care. We believe in the need to triple funding for low-income Title I schools, because every kid in America deserves a quality education regardless of his or her zip code. And because we believe in education, we believe in teachers. We want the best and the brightest to understand that there is no job more important than educating our kids. And the truth is, we need more African American teachers. We need more Latino teachers. We need more special education teachers. And that is why we're going to fight to make sure that no teacher in America earns less than $60,000 a year. And when we talk about education, we think America should do what countries all over the world do: make public colleges and universities tuition-free. After bailing out the crooks on Wall Street and giving tax breaks to billionaires, we can afford to cancel all student debt in America. And I'll tell you something else. It's something that has been in my heart and in my gut for my entire adult life. And that is, I believe that health care is a human right, not a privilege. It is totally absurd that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a right. Well, together we are going to end that embarrassment. We're going to end the absurdity of spending twice as much per person on health care as do the people of any other country, and yet 87 million of us are either uninsured or underinsured. Over 30,000 Americans die each year because they don't get to a doctor on time. 500,000 people go bankrupt because of medically related debt. What kind of system is it that says to somebody struggling with cancer, sorry, you're fighting for your life, but by the way, you're going to go bankrupt because you can't afford the outrageous bills? Last year, the drug companies made outrageous profits. Their CEOs receive huge compensation benefits. And in some cases, we pay 10 times more for the same exact drug sold in Canada and other countries. And today, we tell the drug companies, we're going to stop you ripping off the American people. And today, we say to the insurance industry, whether you like it or not, we are going to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. Now, Donald Trump embarrasses us every day. But there are issues in which he not only harms this country, but he harms the entire world. When we have a president, a self-described genius, I should say, a man who single-handedly, no doubt, will solve the coronavirus crisis, we have somebody in the White House who actually believes that climate change is a hoax. Well, we disagree. We think that Donald Trump is a hoax. So let me tell you what should not be a difficult or surprising proposition. Our administration will listen to scientists not right-wing extremists. And that means that we will tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of our planet. We are going to pass sweeping legislation based on the principles of the Green New Deal. And that says that we are going to create up to 20 million good-paying union jobs as we transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And because you and I know that this world is becoming smaller and smaller, whether it is climate change, the coronavirus, or many other issues, what we are going to do in the White House is tell the world, tell China and Russia, India, Pakistan, Brazil, countries all over the world, that instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe we should pool our resources, fight our common enemy, which is climate change. And as Americans, we are sick and tired of having more people in jail than any other country on earth. We have more people in jail, over 2 million, than China has, 4 times our size. And the people in jail are disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American. The time is long overdue for major reforms to a broken and racist criminal justice system. And what we are going to do together is invest in our young people, in good jobs and good education, not more jails and incarceration. It costs less money to send a kid to the University of Illinois than to lock him up. Let's send them to the university. Today in America, 400,000 people are in jail right now who have not been convicted of anything. They're in jail because they cannot afford cash bail, the $500 they need to get out of jail. Together, we're going to end cash bail in America. Together, we're going to end private prisons and detention centers. Corporations should not be making millions locking up fellow Americans. And together we are going to end the incredibly destructive war on drugs. Now, it turns out that there are some things that a president can do with executive order, other things you need legislation. Just so happens that with an executive order, a president can make marijuana legal in every state in this country. And I invite you to the ceremony when we do just that. Matter of fact, maybe we'll do it right here in Grant Park. Let me ask you all a question. How many folks here know somebody who was arrested for possession of marijuana? We're going to move to expunge the records of those arrested for marijuana. And when we talk about broken and racist systems, we're going to overhaul our immigration system. I am the proud son of an immigrant who came from Poland. I have the feeling I'm not the only person here who has family that came from Poland. My father came to this country, like many of your parents, without a nickel in his pocket, couldn't speak a word of English, had limited education. I will not accept the demonization of the immigrant community. This is a country built by immigrants. This is a country built by slaves. And we have got to appreciate who built this country, who made it great. It was not the folks on Wall Street. It was working people, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American. Those are the people who made this country great. On day one, we're going to restore the legal status of the 1.8 million young people eligible for DACA. We're going to end a border policy which allows federal agents to snatch babies from the arms of their mothers. We're going to end ICE raids which are terrorizing communities all across this country. And we are going to do what should have been done decades ago, pass bipartisan, comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. Right now, every American, no matter what his or her political views may be, are disgusted and horrified by the level of gun violence in this country. The American people desperately want common sense gun safety legislation. My promise to you is our administration will bring forth the most sweeping gun safety legislation in the history of this country. Trump and the Republican leadership are scared to death of the NRA. That's just a fact. Our administration will not be intimidated by the NRA. We are going to take on the NRA. We're going to pass sweeping universal background check. People who have a violent past, including domestic violence, should not own guns. We're going to end the gun show loophole. And we're going to do what the American people want, is to end the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. Our campaign's message, as all of you know, is us, not me. And what that means is two basic principles. Number one, it is an understanding that we are all more humane. We are stronger and better human beings when we care for each other. Every family in America, trust me, has its share of problems. And what we have got to do is to understand that as human beings in a difficult, complicated world, we must be in it together. That my family has got to care about your family has got to care about my family. And in the richest country in the history of the world, when we care about each other, we can go a long way to addressing many of the problems we face. But us, not me, us, not me, us, not me means something even above and beyond that. What it means is taking a hard look at something that the corporate media cannot do, that Congress cannot do. And that is to look at the power structure of America. That's something we are prepared to do. We asked the question of how come today you got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half? How come over the last 45 years, where every worker here is more productive because of technology than used to be the case, how come the average American worker today, in real inflation accounted for dollars, is not earning a nickel more than he or she did 45 years ago? How come over the last 30 years, the top 1% has seen a $21 trillion increase in their wealth, while wealth for the bottom half has actually declined? What this campaign is about is, of course, beating Trump, but we have got to do more than that. We have got to tell the corporate elite in this country they cannot have it all. And that means we're going to take on the greed and corruption of Wall Street. In fact, we're going to break up the major banks in this country, which have so much power. We're going to take on the greed and corruption of the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to take on the insurance industry. We're going to take on the fossil fuel industry. We're going to take on the military-industrial complex. The American people are sick and tired of spending trillions for never-ending wars. And we're going to take on the prison industrial complex. In fact, we're prepared to take on the whole damn 1%. And to tell the wealthiest people in this country that they are going to start paying their fair share of taxes. Every person here, and especially in a city so rich with American history, everybody here knows that real change never takes place from the top on down, always from the bottom on up. I want you to think about workers here in Chicago 100 plus years ago who stood up to their employers and said, you know what? We're not animals, we are human beings. Whether you like it or not, we're going to form unions. I want you to think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. Dr. King, who came here to Chicago to fight for decent housing, to fight for civil rights. And the African-American community and their white allies said, sorry, racism is no longer acceptable. We're going to end racism in America. And I want you to think about the women's movement. 100 years ago or so, women in America did not even have the right to vote. They couldn't do the jobs they wanted and dreamed of doing. They couldn't get the education they wanted. But they stood together, and some of them died. Some of them went on hunger strikes. Some of them threw themselves in front of vehicles to make the point that they would not allow the establishment to define who a woman was. They would do it themselves. And I want you to think about the gay rights movement. And think about the incredible courage of the gay movement and their straight allies who said, you know what, in America, people have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of gender. And I want you to think about the environmental movement, not only in our country, young people like the Sunrise Movement, people all over the world, young people who are saying to the rulers of the world, sorry, we want to live in a planet that is healthy and habitable. Have the guts to do something. That is what a political movement is about, and that's what this campaign is about. It is a political campaign, but above and beyond that, it is a movement of millions of people fighting for justice, fighting for economic justice, for social justice, for racial justice, for environmental justice. That's who we are. And that is why we're not only going to win the nomination, not only win here in Illinois, we're going to defeat Trump and defeat him badly. All of you know that there is a primary coming a week from Tuesday here in Illinois. And what the political revolution is about is rethinking how we look at politics. I know many of you have friends who have given up on the political process. They think politics is bullshit. They think you're a jerk for being here today. I know that. But you got to tell them that you're sick and tired of hearing them moan and groan about student debt, about low wages, about paying half their income for housing. Tired of hearing them talking about racism and sexism and homophobia. Tired of them talking about the jerk in the White House. The time for talk is over. The time for action is now. And we got to tell those people, stop complaining, get involved in the political process. Now, I'm a United States Senator, and I deal with the ruling class of this country all of the time. And let me tell you, the 1% are incredibly powerful. They have more money than you can imagine. They have an endless amount of money. They could spend as much as they want because their pockets are endless. They own the media. They have enormous impact over our economy. They buy and sell politicians through their campaign contributions. But I will tell you something else. At the end of the day, the 1% with all of their money, with all of their power, is 1%. And if the 99% stand together, don't let Trump divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation or our religion. If we stand together around an agenda that works for all of us, not just the people on top, we can transform this country, create a decent life for every man, woman, and child. So brothers and sisters, let's win here in Illinois. Let us win the Democratic nomination. And let us have the extraordinary satisfaction of defeating the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. Chicago, thank you very much.